Eh bien, pour dire nous ne parlons pas d'anglais, moi je ne parle pas trop ça. um, well, we're here at the Bellevue Chopin housing site where we're constructing some 341 housing residential units. As we all know, this project has been financed with funds from the Citizenship by Investment Program. And this is primarily for the relocation of the residents of Savan. But there are some of our friends down in Pishlem and some other villages in the Savan constituency who will benefit from these units. Yeah. These are 1 bedroom, 2 bedroom, 3 bedrooms, and 4 bedroom units. Uh, they all will be painted and tiled with kitchen cupboards, outfitted with kitchen cupboards for the residents. This is a massive project, as you can all see. Work is still ongoing. There are several structures that have been completed, tiled, and everything's in place. Water, the telephone service are there. We're working the Domlec to make the necessary electrical connections. Uh, Obviously, we were hampered by the Hurricane Maria. Otherwise, this project would have been completed. It was already on schedule at the time Maria struck, but we lost several months because of this project. So we're here visiting the cabinet along with senior public officials to get a sense of how things are going, to make our own assessment of the progress, and to get a clear understanding of the completion dates for this project. Once you can get Domley connected, there's a section of the project or the development that we'll hand over to the residents right away. So once Domley is connected, we will hand over those residents. So far, we could move in about 70 or so people into the units, and by November, thereabout, we'll have over 100 ready, and by December, well over that too. So we're making progress, and the fact is we are much further away now than we were several months ago. There's great excitement on the side of the people of PD Savan. Obviously, been renting in different parts of the country, and the whole idea too is to bring back the nostalgic feeling of PD Savan. So one of the things that we'll be doing here is the planting of bay leaf, a lot of trees. So we'll be propagating plants from PD7 itself. We will be engaging residents of PD7 to propagate those plants and also to plant them. And the developer will pay for those plants and to pay to have them planted. So you have this knowledge because bay leaf is almost synonymous with the residents of PD7. So this will be done. This is not the only project. This is a massive project. Really, the biggest housing project the country would have seen in its entire existence. Not only over 40 years of independence, but in our own existence and so forth. And it's occupying well over 55 acres of land, and it's a massive expanse of land that are being used. And you know we're in the east, doing a similar type of housing development in the east. We're talking about Delis, La Plaine, Grandfont, Castle Bruce, Saint-Sauveur, Portsmouth, and also Cotton Hill in the Cottage constituency. And also we'll be doing in Roseau, in the Pound area, and also on the riverbank. We'll be doing some housing units on the riverbank, and possibly in Boyd's Avenue. The state acquired some land there some years ago when we were building the stadium. So the state will be demolishing these old structures and putting some apartment units there. So this is an onward march, to build 5,000 homes for our citizens to benefit from. These are tangible, practical interventions by the government. And it means, therefore, that every citizen of our country will continue to benefit directly from the proceeds of the CBI funds. It is completely financed by the CBI funds, utilizing the funds for the greater good of the country. And I've said we have close to $200 million set aside from the CBI funds for the airport. Everybody's home in Dominica. Everybody's home in Dominica everybody in Dominica who got assistance from the government to fix their home after the hurricane, every single $1 came from the CBI funds. All of our students studying overseas are getting their education, especially post-Maria, from the CBI funds. The small business support, the infrastructure of the country, all of the Bailey bridges you've seen we constructed, all of the concrete roads we constructed, funds from the CBI. So when people are asking, where my money, where my CBI money? These are the things. So when you watch up and you see a roof, call it CBI roof. When you're driving across the Bailey bridges, that's CBI roof, CBI bridges. And many Dominicans who will have one of those homes, not only in Bellevue Chopin, but the rest of the country. This is CBI funds. The students who are studying overseas in Midwestern and Monroe and Grambling and University of West Indies, you are sitting at a bench now, at a desk and a chair, or in the library now because of the CBI funds and the manner in which we've been able to manage the CBI funds to the greater good of the country. On this development, we also have a health center. So we'll be building a health center and a residence for the district nurse. And we have a massive structure, which is a commercial plaza. And the whole idea is to encourage entrepreneurship, small business enterprises in an organized fashion, in a decent building with all the necessary amenities to carry out those responsibilities. So a barber shop, a hair salon, a little restaurant, a little bar, a little grocery, a local place for lotto and all these things. You can get all the services there. And also a farmer's market, because we recognize that Bellevue Chopin, Pichler area, are farming communities. And when you look at this, you will have about more than 1,500 people, new people, who will be resident in Bellevue Chopin. So that's a major market. And people from time to time will require their agricultural produce, their vegetables, some meat to buy and so forth. So you have opportunity to make some money in this community. And of course, this place is 15 minutes from Roosevelt, easy drive. The challenge we have now as a government is that you have many people who are from out of this constituency who are making requests for homes here from all over Dominica, because it's an easy drive, it's a wonderful community, very safe. And with the proposed reconstruction of the road, access to this community will be certainly more enhanced and safer, because we have commitment for funding from the government of the United Kingdom to fully finance the reconstruction of the road from Loubaix all the way to Grand Bay onto Bacatel. So this should be done. In the next few weeks, the government will also unveil further plans to build additional homes in additional communities, because there's a huge demand for it, and to ensure that we construct homes in a resilient manner. If you realize you're not seeing any, when you come here, once it's completed, the only poles you will see protruding from the ground would be street lights. All of the electrical cables are underground. All of the telephone cables are underground here. All of the water pipes are underground. So and they're all underground already. So you're not seeing them, and that's the whole idea which we're seeking to build. So in essence, we're building a resilient community. The majority, about 90% of the roofs are all concrete. Those you see that are not concrete, because we were already advanced at the time of the hurricane, we were not able to have them reconstructed to accommodate the concrete roofs. But majority, 90% of the homes there are concrete roofs, with the zinc being decorative in many of these instances. And even those that are with wooden roofs, they have been designed and constructed to be able to withstand the elements, the weather system that we are exposed to. And all of the external walls are cast concrete, so we're not using blocks. So they're all cast concrete. They're solid, sturdy structures with solid foundations and so forth. Now, contrary to what some people are saying, a number of Dominicans have benefited from these investments here. There are many subcontractors. For example, one of the main subcontractors on this project is Ace Engineering, owned by Mr. Anthony Libla. He got a massive contract here for construction of roads and other interventions here. Chris Walter was another subcontractor here. Um, well, Duasco made money here because we paid Duasco. Domlec making money here, we paid Domlec. Flow made money here because we paid Flow. All of the concrete, cement and so forth, we bought locally. Food items from the supermarkets for the workers. The problem you have now in Dominica, which every one of us is experiencing, is that you cannot get sufficient workers. You know, not enough workers to push the kind of work we need to push. I mean, to have gotten, we need to do some roads in the east, concrete roads. And it was difficult to get contractors because everybody's engaged in one way or the other. Even contractors are telling you they have difficulties. Now they have gone to Haiti to get workers. They've gone to the Dominican Republic to get workers. There are hundreds of Colombians working in Dominica. There are folks from St. Vincent, from St. Lucia, from Jamaica, from Trinidad, from Guyana, you name it. They're working here. There are people, contractors from Spain. We'll go to the Marriott Hotel in Portsmouth on Wednesday, contracting from Spain, working there. So the amount of money that's been spent in the economy is just amazing. And as you recall, we went to Parliament last month for a supplementary appropriation in the amount of $284 million. That is supplementary appropriation. That is on top, above and beyond what we would have spent from the normal budget. And all of these monies were invested in the economy of Dominica. And this is why sometimes you walk through town on a normal Saturday, you think it's Christmas Eve. Because people are spending, people are buying, because they have money to buy. Any able-bodied man who is not working now in Dominica doesn't want to work. So people have been asking, where do you work, Skerrit? Where do you work? Now, we have work descending upon men and women in the country. And many people's hands are tied. They're contractors now working both from government and private citizens with contracts full in their briefcase that they cannot fulfill. Lots of contracts signed with advance paid. And so that's the only challenge the government has. It is not with regards to our inability to get things started or done. We do not have contractors. So we've had to go out because we do not have 25 years to do certain things. There's some things which must be done now. And you need the contractors to be available now. So there's a lot of work to be done, and we're pushing ahead. We made tremendous progress with the roofs. The majority of roofs you see uncovered are people who are not in Dominica, or people who have insurance money and are waiting for a contractor to do the stuff. So the government is doing what the government has to do and what the government is able to do with the resources that it has. And so we're here today in Bellevue Chopin. Also, the Chinese government, they were here, they sent a delegation here. They spent about 12 days with us to advance the hospital project and also the schools. The Chinese are building for us 5 brand new schools, including the Goodwill Secondary School. And all of the schools will be designed with the weather system in mind, okay? And including the hospital. The hospital originally would have been designed to have a wooden roof. The first buildings, obviously, they were advanced, so we will continue with the wooden roofs. But the Chinese government has agreed to conform to the government of Dominica's policy to build in a resilient manner. And the Chinese government has agreed to have all of the hospital buildings, the remaining 9 or so buildings, with concrete roofs. And also to ensure that the windows and doors are able to withstand heavy winds in the event. So no longer, when our hospital will be completed, will the nurses and doctors and the Ministry of Health be worried about the roof blowing away, because there will be all concrete roofs, solid concrete roofs, so our patients can be in the hospital and don't worry about the elements outside, because they'll be safe in there. And the number of other stylistic, functional changes that will be made to the design of the hospital. So we're very grateful to the Chinese government for that. I said advancements are being made with regards to the Canadian funding for the schools, and based on what the Canadian and the CDB have told us, we should see works on the Grand Bay Primary School started next year, middle of next year, God's willing, and other schools and so forth. So we're making progress. There's commitment from the international community, regional communities to help us. We have to continue to work together and help ourselves and be focused on the task. So this is where we are, and I'm very pleased with the progress. And I'm in speaking to residents from Petit Savan. They are anxious to get in. I just met a few families who tell me they thought they were getting the keys today, and some of them come here. They tell me almost every day and every weekend, just to feel it, just to see it, the excitement, and 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 that in itself will help transform the people too, because in poverty, one of the variables that has been used is housing, housing, access to sanitation, and access to water, and then so once we move all of these residents from Petit Savan, there'll be there'll be no one without pit latrine. Everybody will have lights. Everybody will have water. You see what I'm saying? Everybody will have a comfortable home, and so you can imagine by this investment, this project, this vision expressed by the government, that it will literally transform the lives of every single family, every single individual from Petit Savan. And even those who who would never be able to build a home will now have a solid home for themselves, because in some cases you had large families, right? And you had a granddaughter living with her grandparents with children, 1 or 2 bedroom homes. So we're going to be splitting these families, not not emotionally, but where the housing is concerned. So we would have the grandparents and so forth with their own little home, and not a little home, a big home, and the children, the granddaughter and her children, with a brand new home, and so forth. So this is where we are, and I'm very happy for them, and I want to commend the Member of Parliament, Dr. Daru, for his leadership and his guidance, for the committee that he established of residents from Petit Savan, for their patience and understanding. Um, yeah, and finally, we in Dominica, we like to criticize, and we like to compare nations with nations and countries with countries. Um, but the fact is, there are countries that have been impacted by hurricanes and storms that are much richer than us, where people are languishing, waiting for their governments to come to help them. And in some cases, it's not because these governments are not nice, or they're not helpful, or they do not like the people, because they're unable to help. And some of these countries, they have godfathers and godparents, godmothers. We have none. We rely in large measure on the benevolence of some of our friendly nations who have come to our assistance. But the bulk of the work is being done by the government of Dominica. And especially because the fact that sometimes the funds are slow coming from the development partners. And finally, I want to inform the nation that the World Bank has finally approved an additional amount of $31 million US for Dominica, as part of the $115 million which they approved for us. 50 million of which is grant, so it's monies that we not repay. This $31 million will go directly to the east of Dominica, to the Canlago territory, from the junction there before the Emerald Pool, all the way through Cassie Bruce, all the way through Petit Soufriere, through Morpo, Deepa, Tranto, Good Hope, Saint Sauveur, Petit Soufriere, all the way down to Fontley in Petit Soufriere, and also through the Canlago territory, all the way to Pegua, including passing through, obviously, through Atkinson. So we had some funds for that project, and we have augmented the amount so that we can do a more comprehensive intervention in the east. And we have decided as a government to dedicate all those funds to one locality, rather than trying to spread it across the country, and it would have the impact it would have on the rest of the country. So the people of the east, and they know that you have seen some work already there. There are several interventions in Cassie Bruce, There's several interventions just after the Emerald Pool, between Emerald Pool and Castle Bruce. Also in Good Hope area, going towards Good Hope area, and you will see more of those interventions. So you see new bridges, for example. You will see new culverts to carry the water off the roads and avoid erosion. And you will see certainly new surface of the roads there, enhancing the safety of the road to road users and enhancing the property values of those people, the properties down in the east. So these are not pie in the sky. So anybody who wants to say that they have an alternative, my brother, is that we have to say to people, if you cannot give me biscuit, you cannot take bread from my mouth. So a man cannot tell you that he will give you a biscuit when you already have bread. You see something eating, so So people have to come with practical, tangible alternatives. So to say that they're serious, and the government, Dominica, has demonstrated seriousness, because just 1 year ago we had a hurricane which impacted the entire country. Every citizen got impacted, 226% of its GDP, and see where we are today. And this did not come about by us sitting on our hands and sitting on our heads. We have been out there advocating on behalf of the citizens. We have been out there making a case. We have been out there lobbying. In a matter of days, I was in Washington discussing the World Bank and the International Monetary Fund. In a matter of days, I went to Florida to speak with the cruise lines, and we saw Carnival coming back to us after having left in 2009, and we will unveil, as I said in the Parliament some time ago, in my budget address, unveil a plan for tourism, and cruise tourism in particular, that will see us take the cruise passengers in the first instance to 600,000, and in the medium term, and to 1 million passengers in Dominica. And we are confident that will happen. We are engaging the cruise industry. They have advised us on what we need to do to get to that point. And once we follow this, including some legislation and understanding from the stakeholders, we can get to that point. And finally, I would say on the international airport, we're committed to this, and I've given clear instructions to the Commission of Lands to engage landowners, which we started, and let us settle with them the price for the land and pay them within 48 hours of having agreed to this price. So we look forward to that. The number of them have indicated their willingness to sell, obviously, and we're prepared to engage them. So these things that we're very committed to it. We're very committed to enhancing the infrastructure. Obviously, everything will not happen overnight because there's a process. The building back with greater resilience and so forth will take some time. It will be costlier, but we believe that's the only path for us to follow if we are true believers that climate change is real. And as I've said to the international community, this is a truth that we have lived, and we will take appropriate actions as citizens to ensure that when these storms come, that we can withstand them. I mean, in a matter of weeks, we were faced with 3 approaching storms in quick succession. One cannot imagine if one had hit us. Thank God none did. But we have to prepare ourselves so that our anxiety levels can be certainly lower when the storms are coming. So thank you very much for being in the press. I wanted you to see for yourself, because you have so much fake news going on, and there's so many idle people on Facebook and social media that who are only bent on negatives. So they'll go in a garbage tin and take a picture and post it and say that's how Dominica is looking. Rather than promoting the country, and beauty of the country and what we have to offer as a nation, and to encourage people to come to visit us and to live their foreign currency here, to expand the economy. We are bent on negatives, but we have to be focused on what we need to do for the people, and that's what we're doing. And our position as a government is that we will do our best, and then we'll leave the rest to the Lord to help.
And Mr. Prime Minister, I also want to find out from you in reference to the rent cost. Is there any rent cost to anybody?
Insofar as the residents of PD7 are concerned, the homes will be given to them free of charge, as was promised. But these homes will come with some conditions, and the rest we will sell to people. There must be conditions. Because there'll be certain conditions, some legal binding conditions on these properties, not only here but across the country. So no longer will people just get a key and turn their back. They're going to have a long-term responsibility because these are investments that the country is making. So, for example, you must insure your property. One of the conditions we're going to be setting, you must insure your property because the government will not be able to rebuild homes as we've done this time around. So you're given a home, it's your duty and responsibility to protect it and to take care of it and to pay your insurance. I don't want nobody to tell me they don't have money because we have money. Everybody buy a ticket for Quail Festival. So we have to find the money, put a cash to the side and pay your insurance every month. Um, you know, and keep the place clean. Plant flowers. You don't want no cow or goat tying in front of your house and disturbing the peace there and tidying the place and eating people's flowers and so forth. So there'll be no dog and no pig. And if you're a dog, it has to be inside your house or chained properly. No dog will be loose in the people's yard. And so there are serious conditions we're going to be placing on these buildings, and to maintain the aesthetics of the place and to maintain the structures. Because I will tell you, I'm not boasting. I'm not a boastful person. But I don't think any other government would be able to do that. Will be able to build homes for people like that. It has never happened, and it's going to be difficult for government to do that in the future. So you see some goats walking across there now. My brother wants to see you get your key in this place and well over to you. All those goats out, you have to either eat them or bury them in the bush. Yeah, you don't know goats roaming the streets there, my brother. Okay, so we'll impound those goats and get the police to come and take them or something, or cook them for the not the state prison, the hospital people and so on. So there'll be some conditions. They're not burdensome, but which would, because our main concern is for the people and to ensure that we protect them from themselves too. You understand? So it is not doing that because we want to impose conditions on people. We're doing it because they are necessary and they're important to safeguard the future of the people. Because if you don't pay your insurance, you're going to have a problem. Okay? Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.